I do not question either the authority or the power of the Chancellor or the President of the University to remove me from office, summarily or otherwise. I do not question their power or their authority to bypass me in all discussions of the future of the College of Arts and Sciences, or to bring me into the consultation as late as the 11th of July. The wisdom of these matters is a different question, but I certainly have no reason to doubt that the Board, the Chancellor, and the President have the power and the authority. I do not come before the Board of Regents to discuss my personal situation or to ask any reversal of it. If the Regents wish to discuss my dismissal, I should only ask that I be privy to that discussion. The intellectual and emotional maturation of students.
The last 5 years, we've had 405 new plants come into this area. We've had about 437 expansions. These plants and new plants and the expansions have added about 92,000 jobs to our total labor force. But they've been 50 jobs here, 75 here, 100 here, and they haven't made the news media the big impact such as a GD announcement would. So we think that we have made progress in our jobs. There still isn't making light of the fact that the GD situation will affect numerous individuals.
We have more men coming in now, and they're jobs for these men. Maybe not at the money they've been making, but they're jobs. They're still jobs enough to go around as far as I see it.
Do they seem to want to stay here in the Fort Worth area, or are they looking otherwise?
Most of them want to stay here. Most of them expect to be hired back. That's one reason it's hard to place them on other jobs.
They think they'll go back to their job at GD or
That's
LTV
right.
or somewhere.
Sooner or later. And that's why an employer is hesitant to hire them at a lesser salary.
Mm-hmm.
Because if GD calls them back or if LT calls them back, they're going back for more money. You can't blame them for that.
Are these people skilled in highly specialized skills, or are they just common laborers, or who's coming to you?
Some of them are machinists and just general assembly workers.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're talking about skilled shop workers there.
Mm-hmm.
Now you haven't asked me about the female applicants.
No, let's talk about the female applicants.
Okay. Well, any qualified applicant that walks through my door, I can place her.
We cannot deny the fact that it is turning from a seller's market into a buyer's market. This has happened over the last, I'd say, 18 months. So we are now seeing more homes come in and that the buyers are having a better selection. This could be alarming. At the same time, I think it's important to point out, for instance, we are having buyers in the market that are taking up these homes. It is averaging about 63 days to sell a home, whereas 3 years ago it was taking around 90 days to sell a home. So you have conflicting information, but it is a softened market. In the apartment industry, the typical barometer that you use is your occupancy, and there are some figures available that I think would be helpful. If we look to 6 months ago, we have dropped from about 89% occupancy down to 87%. And from a year ago, we are down from 93%. Not to get bogged down in figures, but this shows a drop of about 7%, 6 to 7%. Now, there's one factor I think we should point out here, that during these surveys that were taken in the past, there were many units under construction. For instance, a year ago, there were 7,000 under construction that were not taken into consideration. Today, there's about 3,000 under construction. So therefore, even though our occupancy has dropped, the overall absorption of apartment units have done quite well considering the supply and demand situation. If we want to talk briefly about the investment climate, I think it is a very good indicator because it shows what people are willing to do that has money to invest. Our interest in the Fort Worth area has very definitely increased in the last year to 18 months from outside capital seeking investment. Our firm specializes in investments, and So we have a pretty good feel on the ground floor of this. We think that this indication alone from the, as I say, outside capital money wanting to be invested in this area is an awful good indicator of what we can expect in the future.
We feel we're in a fluctuating period, but that we do have a very positive future for us. In construction, you can look around and you can see this growth and expansion and development that we're talking about. We've got our new City Hall under construction. New Block Square Texas Employment Commission building is under construction. The area is being demolished right now downtown for the 600 Houston Street Mall. The Continental National Bank's half-block multi-level parking garage will be under construction before the end of the year. We have two major projects that have been announced that will be underway shortly. That's the giant Fort Worth National Bank complex and the Miller's Mutual Insurance Group project. We anticipate to begin demolition on 5 square blocks south of the convention center that our Chamber Development Corporation has purchased within the next 30 days in Project Front Door. And mentioning the convention center, we have over $55 million in convention business booked for the next 5 years here. We're making a concerted emphasis on tourism and visitors to our community because these people don't use too many of our services. All they do is leave money in a community, and they have a tremendous effect on our economy. And all of these things put together with other activities that we have to promote our total economy, we feel is going to keep Fort Worth moving forward.
I think it would be a serious mistake if the Air Force, the Defense Department, did not continue this program. I recognize that it's had troubles in the past, but when you look at the facts, such as the fact that this airplane has had less accidents than any other plane in their 100 series, you can't help but be impressed. And when you talk to the people that fly the plane, and as I say, my son has done this, an active, off-the-record, non-congressman kind of interviews and just discussions with them, and then you talk to the fellows that I have that fly the plane, you can't help but be impressed with the capabilities of the aircraft. And then when you look at the overall military posture of this country, you can't help but be impressed with the ability that this plane has, whether it's in TAC or SAC, to be a useful aircraft for the future.
In February, a meeting of the St. Peter's Academy students' parents were called in an effort to determine both the needs and the wishes of the people most immediately involved. At the time, the Dawson board pointed out that increasing costs and declining enrollment were making it increasingly difficult to maintain quality education in the high school that the children and the parents had a right to expect. They urged the high school, and I'd like to emphasize here, that the high school only is a portion of the operation that's under question or under consideration to be closed. Its present students will be enrolled in other Catholic schools in the city. I think we owe it to the public to tell them why we reached our decision. Now, and I will go into all the details, just the main points. In order to continue the school at a minimum level of education quality would cost about $100,000 a year, considerably more than tuition would bring in. That figure would go up each year, and mind you, this is only day-to-day operation.